And this is the CSL This Week. Hey folks, I'm Alex Bastyovanszky, and then there were two. The CSL playoffs have provided some fascinating matchups over the past couple of weeks, and we've seen some massive upsets along the way as well. Who would have thought that two expansion teams would be the last club standing? Well, the second semifinal was a tantalizing matchup between two old-school rivals, Toronto, Croatia, and Hamilton, Croatia. Two clubs with over 50 years of tradition, numerous titles, and arguably the most passionate fans in the CSL. The game was intense, and I'll tell you, from a producer's standpoint, I'd like to personally thank both teams for providing some of the best highlights we've had on the show all season.
A virtual sellout in Steeltown as the two Croatian sides meet up to see who would face Brantford in the final. James Milford Jr. Get used to hearing that name. Look at these saves that he makes here. 1, 2, 3 from point-blank range. Incredible. His teammates rightly show their love. More Toronto moments later, CSL leading scorer Tiomir Miletic breaks in, actually hits the leg of Peter Tariansky, stays out. Toronto can't knock home the rebound, and Hamilton escapes another close call as Miletic can't believe his bad luck. Then Hamilton starts to turn it on. Ian Leggett threads to Preston Corporal, who manages to get the shot off, but Sandy Matika smothers it to keep things scoreless. Wouldn't last much longer though. Aidan O'Keefe fights off two Toronto players here and goes down at the edge of the box to set up the dangerous free kick, and just take a look at what happens. Heartbreak for Toronto as the deflection slides past Matika and Hamilton draws first blood. Thanks to O'Keefe in the 27th minute of play, the Steeltown fans celebrate in style. The second half now, Toronto pressing hard, but Milford gets bailed out by Tariansky with the goal light stand right there. But in the 54th minute, Hamilton pads their lead. It's a great pass from Corporal to Leggett. Even better shot as he pounds it home past the shell-shocked Matika. Hamilton can feel it. They celebrate. But Toronto weren't about to fold up their tent and go home quite yet. That's where James Milford took things to another level in goal. First, he pulls off the ridiculous stop off two Toronto blasts from in close to preserve the shutout. And he gets some love from a grateful Ivan Razumovic right there. Moments later, Milford comes off his line perfectly to make another ridiculous stop on the disbelieving Toronto Croats. This was almost unfair. Not to be outdone, though, Sandy Matika pulls off the massive save against Preston Corporal to keep it 2-0. But that's the way it ends, and the Hamilton faithful kept the party going long afterwards. For the second straight encounter, Hamilton tops Toronto 2-0, but this win allows the Steeltowners to punch their ticket to the CSL final. After the game, I asked Hamilton coach Ronnie Davidson about the man who made all the difference for them in the game, keeper James Milford.
Milford, first of all, I think was man of the match, without question. He saved it when it mattered, and he's a big game player. What he brought to this team, he brought a bit of, if you want to call it maturity at the back, and control at the back, and just settled our defence. He brought confidence to the back four as well, which was key, because at the time when we brought him in, we were starting to lose that a little bit. It feels great. I think for the club, the fans, we've had fans all season, fantastic. The players, a lot of new guys, they've all bought into the plan, worked hard, and it feels absolutely wonderful.
Let's move on to Hamilton and Toronto now. Just unbelievable atmosphere in this game. I was there filming it for the highlights, and you know, the Hamilton fans, they always come out. They've supported this team for 50 years, and it was just, of course, Croatia versus Croatia. Fantastic rivalry. Aidan O'Keefe at the 27th minute mark to get things started. Off an unfortunate deflection, actually, on a free kick where it went off the Croatian wall and went into the back of the net. Adam Leggett in the second half from 18 yards out. Absolutely gorgeous strike. But you know what, and you would agree with this, when we saw Toronto-Croatia play 3 weeks ago now against Hamilton in a game where it could have meant the difference for their playoffs, and they came out so flat and they lost 2-0 to Hamilton. Much different 2-0 game this time. Toronto-Croatia looked very good.
Absolutely, but one player only that stood out for me was Milford James. Here's a guy that came out of the Chicago Fire system. The last 10 to 11 games, the Hamilton-Croatia team has looked confident in front of him, relaxed, and he knows how to make the big saves. This guy here, I will guarantee you, Hamilton, enjoy him for this championship game. Someone will scoop him up next year. An MLS team somewhere in Europe, they will take him.
Well, I interviewed Ronnie after the game, and he made a point of saying, I mean, this is a fact. So they've had him for 10 games.
Right.
Now, they've had him for 10 games. They've won all 10. with him in there. He said unquestionably this is the reason why there's so much more confidence now, and they've won 10 games in a row. He made the saves. I mean, we showed it in the highlights. You know, the saves that this guy made in this game. I had Toronto, Croatia fans around me, and they were, I can't tell you what they were saying, I mean, because this is a family show.
Right.
But they were beside themselves. They could not believe the saves this guy was saying. He was the difference in the game.
But they were giving credit where credit was due to their goalkeeper. And let's also very quickly talk about Ronnie Davidson. I've spoke about him all year. OSL Coach of the Year last year in 2009, and it looks to be that this guy is going to get to the final here. And again, he's going to be very sharp and understands what it takes to get this team to the championship stage after the game.
Yeah. One thing that Hamilton did do, and we've talked about this before, Ronnie likes that they marked Miletic very closely. He did get a couple of chances, but they were really all over Miletic. They eliminated that aspect of Toronto Croatia's game, and they marked him roughly when needed as well. They sent a message as well. They were not going to give him any room at all, and that's exactly what they did. They took him out of it, and it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen against Brantford, which we're going to talk about momentarily about what's going to happen. But you know, great rivalry. It's unfortunate Toronto had to go out, but it's really great to see Hamilton in there as a first-year team.
Let's talk about the Hamilton Croatia supporters very quickly. Alex, they've filled the stadium at Brian Timmins Stadium all season long. They're vocal. They're going to come out in droves in this final. And again, to the older and other clubs that have been in the CSL for a number of years, this is a fantastic couple of teams that are in the final with their fan support and the love of Canadian soccer that they have. Great work, Hamilton. Great work, Brantford. You and your supporters deserve to be in this final.
Pretty much the top two attended teams, and they're going to be in the final. We got to take a quick break. The CSL This Week will be back in just a moment.